Hello everyone, welcome to the PyCharm FastAPI tutorial series. As you can see, this is the docs page, which is based on the Swagger UI. There's one more docs page provided by FastAPI known as Redoc. Let me show you that. Redoc is an open source tool for generating documentation from open API definitions. By default, Redoc offers a 3-panel responsive layout. The left panel contains a search bar and a navigation menu. The central panel contains the documentation. The right panel contains request and response examples. Do check this out. You can also disable the docs. Also, you can change the docs URL path. And one more thing I'd like to mention, you can test the APIs through PyCharm itself via HTTP client. Click on Tools, HTTP Client, Create Request in HTTP Client. I'm going to copy the curl request and try to run it. As you can see, we are receiving the response. This is something that you can try out when working with PyCharm. Coming back to the tutorial, today we're going to focus on working on two modules. Order and cart both are interrelated. Let's begin by creating models for our cart module. I'm going to do the necessary imports. Next, I'll be creating two classes, cart and cart items. So this is what cart and cart items looks like. Let me give you a high-level overview. So in the cart table, you can see that every user will be getting a unique cart ID. And cart items will be storing cart ID and product ID. In this way, we will easily identify how many items are there in the cart for a particular user. You can observe that we have created relationships with cart and product, also foreign key mapping of user and cart model. Now I will go to the user model and product model, where I will create the back populates with the cart and cart items. Let's move ahead and create the schema. Sorry, I forgot to register the models. Let's do that first. Okay, the tables are reflecting in our database. You can observe the foreign key relationships. In cart items, we have the foreign key with cart ID and product ID. In the cart table, we have foreign key with user ID. Our model part is done. Let's move to cart, where we will be creating routes, services, schema, etc. I'm going to create the router and do the necessary imports. We will create the API router and provide the tag name as cart. We'll be creating 3 APIs for our cart. Adding product to the cart, getting all the items present in the cart, removing cart item by ID. Let's begin by writing our first API, add product to the cart. We will be passing product under ID and also validating whether that specific product exists in our database or not. We will also validate whether the product quantity, if the quantity is less than or equal to 0, then the item is out of stock. On line 18, we will try to get the user information. For now, as a workaround, I will provide the email manually, but in the upcoming videos, we'll be working on auth and JWT, and I'll get the user info from the token. Next, I will try to get the cart information. If not present, then we will create a new one. Now I'm going to create one more async function add under items, in which I will pass cart ID and product ID. We're done with the implementation. I'm going to register the cart router. Let's now test the API in Swagger. I'm going to pass a valid product ID. You can see we got a successful response with a 201 status code and a message item added to the cart. I'm going to re-verify the database whether a record has been added or not. Yes, it exists. You can see the cart ID coming from the cart table as a foreign key relationship. Let's move on with the remaining two APIs, get and remove items from the cart. I'm going to create a Pydantic schema, which will be helpful for retrieving items from the cart. I will create a class showCartItems, which inherits the base model. Products are going to fetch the information from the product schema. I'll create one more class called showCart, which is going to return the list of cart items. I'll move back to the router where I will continue working on the API to get all cart items. At line 41, I'm going to pass the email manually, but in the later videos, we're going to change it. We're done. Let's check what response we're getting. As you can see, we got the cart information along with detailed product information. Let's continue with our last API, remove cart item by ID. This is going to be a delete API, so there's no response in return, only the status code of 204. First, we need to get the user information, then the cart ID of that specific user. We are done. Let's test it all out. I'm going to pass a valid cart item ID. You can see the item has been deleted. Let me verify that. As you can see, the get cart items has returned an empty list. That means our cart item was successfully deleted, and now our cart is completely empty. I hope you now understand how cart functionality works. Instead of storing cart items in a database, you can store cart items in memory like Redis, and you can play with that completely up to you. In the next video, we will work on the order where we're going to see how to place an order successfully. Stay tuned. See you in the next video.